Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. In today's news, we're now seeing a lot of people getting salty they can't go and beat Elden Ring, and as well, we're kind of seeing a lot of just big kind of drama and controversy about if it's too hard, if people are just too soft, and as well, a lot of big now review bombing when it comes to the game itself as a whole. So I'm gonna go talk about this because I actually have had a chance to play some myself, and as well, if you guys are curious, I actually might go be doing a stream of it too as well on Twitch down below if you guys want to follow. And of course, I love Elden Ring, but some people are getting a little bit on the salty side, at least in my opinion. Right now, we're seeing the Elden Ring is at a mixed review on Steam, and in all honesty, I think it's kind of unfair. And I'm going to kind of talk about it throughout this video, so I want to hear your thoughts and comments down below. Elden Ring as a whole, and most like FromSoft and like Dark Souls and Soulsborne type games, are usually meant to be a more challenging experience. Like for me, there is bosses that took me hundreds of tries in Elden Ring, and of course in all the other various games like Sekiro and Bloodborne. There are walls, there are hard challenging characters, and there also is a brand new format for the DLC itself. Now, I'm not going to try to spoil too much in terms of it because I have had a chance to play it, but as of right this second, the gameplay is slightly different, where it's like they expect you to have already played and beaten the game. To access the DLC, it's a slightly harder boss, and anyone who's been around the Souls category kind of knows most DLCs are meant to be hard. They're usually harder than the base game, and also Elden Ring may have had this weird crossover of it becoming a commercial, normalized success for like the people who may not have been used to that genre of game. Loved it, enjoyed it, and built the hype, and maybe even forgot the past like year or so that the game itself is actually inherently a hard game. So let's go talk about this, because it's a little bit on the intriguing side. First and foremost, if you guys look at the Steam page, yeah, bro, the game itself is mixed. Only 63% of users have been positive. Now, I've had a chance to check it out so far. I've only played a few hours. I'm going to play a lot more on Twitch. You just want to follow down below. But when it comes to this, is I think it's a fun experience. But I have had my own issues too, and a lot of the same reviews as well. Where number one, I did have a lot of loading issues. And I have a nice PC, I have a good SSD, I have a good everything. Like, my PC's pretty solid. And there was issues of having a little bit of micro stutters, loading into new areas took a little bit of while for it to actually render and load, but inherently it's probably like an 80%. Like, I still have enjoyed my experience, I've enjoyed my run, I think the game itself runs relatively well. Do I think the base game runs better? Yes. But I also have a few occasional issues with a lot of particle effects and elements that kind of slogged my game, even on the base game from what I remember. Yes. So that doesn't excuse it, and there is a lot of people negatively reviewing that, but there's also a lot of people that are just basically saying that this expansion is hard. Now, the expansion's big, there's new bosses, new characters, and for $40, I will most likely get my value from it, because I barely scratched the surface already from playing a few hours. But at the same time, some people are not really enjoying it. Like, there's a lot of people saying, yes, this is good as well, and the same rough thing is kind of rough. They're saying mob enemies can still two-shot you at level 160. Gang squads are abundant. The game just seems to stop you once you get to Mesmere. I'll get a few more tries before I uninstall. I have not seen such star from software since Ishin the Glock Saint. And some people are saying peak, people complaining because games do hardly right above it as well. And there is, like I said, some people are critiquing. Some open world areas run at 30 FPS on a 3080 as well. It's a mixed bag with some of the best and the worst. The camera is the hardest boss, and I did actually, if you guys have played The Lion, I have had a lot of camera issues with The Lion, not to go too much into here, and a lot of people are saying like, hey man, it's hard to recommend from performance issues. They want to preface that they're a diehard FromSoft glazer, will defend Miyazaki as well, but after finishing their DLC, they just went through just a lot of issues. Like I said, there's a lot of big balance issues. They're thinking that's some other stuff. Like, I don't want to go into too much of the spoiler category, so if you guys didn't have a chance to glance into it, but there's just a lot of critiques on it. And a lot of it does kind of come into the fact that people are saying get good. I'm going to go show up Scott over here because I think Scott's just cool. I think this is the first time I've ever seen a Souls game whose core systems are about preserving through great difficulty. Get review bomb for being too difficult. I wonder if that's just because there's a far bigger audience than normal, because From Software DLC is always hard. Now, I've liked Scott. Scott's cool, and I think he's right. I think there is a mixture of maybe a bigger audience, that people are not used to this difficulty scale up. And if I want to go kind of ramble into this, I like this. Like, we're even seeing memes about this, because I don't think every video game on the planet should be easy. Some video games are easy. Like, I could appreciate it. You have a story game, you have a very linear base game, you just walk straight here, you have a little check mark for your quest marker of where to go. I don't necessarily hate that. Depends on the game, depends on the vibe. Some games are meant to be more of a story-based experience. Just end all be all. That's how it's meant to be. And I'm okay with that. I understand that. But at the same time, we can't only have those cinematic games or those kind of almost PlayStation-style games because I want to have a challenge. I want to have a game that's hard. I want to have a game that people are okay with. And we're seeing people that are refunding Elden Ring. We're seeing people complaining. And you guys even see in the reviews that I just quickly glossed over, there's a lot of people that understand the flow of the game. Or maybe, day one issues, they'll hopefully get patched on out. But it's kind of funny because it did seem like Miyazaki knew this. And now I don't want to go and explode too much for us, so I'll give you guys the basics. The basic characters scale with your level. So even if you are level 515, like in the meme itself, it doesn't matter because the characters will scale with you. That's good because you don't want to have some player who's level 999 and they just one-shot everything in the game. That doesn't make it fun. If it scales with your character, especially for a day one DLC, that is good. But as well, some of the bosses too on top of that, there's certain core mechanics. This is not too much of a spoiler, but you're really supposed to utilize the souls that they drop in the game. They give you a 4.5% damage buff and a 4.5% defense buff. So obviously if a boss, area, spot, whatever is too hard, explore because it incentivizes you exploring and learning the area. And this is not a spoiler. It shows in the first 3 minutes. So it's you just read the menu, it's there. It's meant to be there. It's how they decided it. They decided to design it, sorry. But when it comes to this stuff, it's an intriguing thing because I like these challenging games and I would hope most people would be in the same boat. And so it might be a little bit polarizing too as well, but it doesn't matter because even the game director knows that the earn tree is meant to be hard. He thinks players can handle it, and I would agree. I myself have felt a little bit challenged. There's a lot of, in my mind, some things where it's just a lot of mobs. It's annoying, but still hard. And there's also been still progression. I've gotten new areas. I've got a few bosses dead. So it's not I can't do it. And I want to cook on it a lot more. But I do kind of feel the fact that some people are threatening to uninstall and refund and give up is a little bit hard. Try the game. Challenge the game. We're even seeing people like Asmongold that are just basically being this game is too hard. And that's after a lot of reviewers already came out initially and said these games are meant to be hard. This is a very hard DLC. And then someone like Asmongold kind of made fun of him and being hey, what do you mean it's old? I love this game. It's easy. And then he threatened to quit the game. Although he did come back to give him credit, not to go and be a hate video on him. So it's not the worst. He probably just got frustrated. I have been, and I've quit games for the day and be this game sucks, and the next day I'm playing it. This is how the mind of a gamer is. But people are we need to have these hard experiences. And that's at least nice because at least Miyazaki has been saying by far the biggest in scale in volume from the DLC. He also said it's the same volume as the Limgrave part of the base game, which in theory people are actually saying is a little bit more. And it's crazy because they were saying they've already played the game for 30 hours and then we found new areas in the DLC that are even more expansive. And the map itself is large, it's layered, new areas, plus everything. And the game itself seems really dope. And I agree. It's cool. This is a cool lore. It's a cool story. It's a good DLC. So the fact that people are actually upset about it makes me sad. Now, I think optimization issues, no matter what, is a valid critique, valid concern, refund worthy. If your PC can't run it, then you can't enjoy it. So I understand. Even if you have a high-end PC and you're having you don't like that. You want to have your game that you're spending $100 on, base game plus DLC, you want to make sure it's good. So I understand that 100%, and those are valid critiques. But the people that are saying it's too hard, yeah, sometimes it might be too hard for your own personal preference, because some people would rather go play a more casual game. More people would rather not get good. Some people would rather just enjoy their Saturdays. Maybe you're just older. Maybe you're even disabled. Not in a defensive way, just sometimes it is hard. It's a hard thing to somewhat accomplish, especially if you're slightly older, if you have kids, you don't have the time. There's a lot of, not even sassing you, justified reasons for why it might be a hard experience. And I can understand that perspective, but I don't think that necessarily means it's bad. Maybe it just means it's not for you. And I don't like the idea that things are getting review bombed and people are saying insulting things and calling it out because it's meant to be hard. There's memes over here saying it's hard. The warnings have been there that it's hard. Even the creator of himself is saying this is meant to be a hard experience. And that's what people expect from Souls games. Not every game can be a basic game, and I like that this exists. So I want to hear your thoughts and comments on everything down below. Because, everyone's calling it out. There's some people calling us out and saying, yeah, man, It's just rough. People are saying you're going to be humbled. Why are they two-tapping us too? Which is might be a proper critique too as well. And some people are saying it's not good. Some people saying it's like not scaled well, it's not a good experience, or whatever it might be. You can find anyone who can complain about anything online. So I want to hear your thoughts and comments on everything down below. Have you checked it out? Have you liked it? I'm going to be playing it probably right now. Link down below. And I appreciate y'all for watching. Subscribe if you guys are new. We'll talk to you guys all later.